republic for which it stands.
One nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And I am back, but it's not Sunday afternoon. This time it is Tuesday afternoon, but I am back, tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And folks, let me tell you what, I have got to apologize. It's almost been 2 weeks now, and you have not received a podcast yet, and I have no excuse except for I have been busy. So we had, what did we have this last weekend? So the weekend before I was busy I had a big class, had a bunch of stuff going on, had a bunch of family down. You know, it's summertime, the family gathers and all that, I guess, fun stuff, if that's what you want to call that. But this weekend just passed, Saturday, one of my daughters got married, and we happened to have the wedding ceremony here in my yard, just outside the door of the war room. And as much as I wanted to, I could not sneak in here and get a podcast done. People hung out for a while. There's lots of cleanup. There's lots of whatever. I looked at my wife and I said, do you think I could sneak away? And she just kind of gave me that look that only a wife can give. And I took that as no. If you know what's good for you, you will not leave me here. So anyhow, we had the wedding ceremony out here, and I actually performed the wedding. I performed the marriage myself. I went out and I got what is it called? Anyhow, I think I went to some New Life church place. I got ordained online to be able to officiate at the wedding. So I did that. It was kind of fun. Nice, short, simple wedding. Lots of people that I didn't know, and I'll probably never see again. But anyhow, that's over. And then, of course, the next day was Father's Day, and I've got a race coming up in the next probably about 3 weeks. And so my son is running that with me, and I took him out, and we went that was my Father's Day gift. I gave him the Father's Day gift to give to me. So his Father's Day gift to me was he was going to go out and run the long run, which he needed to do anyway. But he was going to do it without grumbling. And we went out and we ran 18 miles Sunday morning. And by the time I got done, I was tired, and I got home and I took a shower, and then family was back over here again for Father's Day, and it was a great day. And by the time it was all said and done, I just didn't have the energy to come do the podcast. And I know you guys are waiting for the podcast. I'm surprised I didn't get more people asking me where it was at, but you're going to get one today. It's not going to be a real long one. It's going to be probably a pretty quick. I'm actually doing this right now. It is, about 4:30. I've got a class at about 5:30. So there you go. Try to kick this out before my students show up. But I hope everyone's been out there, been out shooting, been out, shooting some lead, put some rounds down range. I know that when I was out running, there's a shooting range out where I go, and it was full of people out there shooting rifles, shooting handguns. Sounded like there was a 22. I kind of drove by, and there was probably 8 or 9 people out there, and I think that's fantastic. All this ammo that people have hoarded, it's time to shoot some of it, right? It's time to fire some rounds. I know it's not back down to where it normally was, originally before the pandemic, the prices and stuff, or the availability, but I see it kind of loosening up. I see some prices coming down, especially online, and I think that's good. Now, I don't know that it'll ever get down to where it was at. I really hope it does. I don't know if it ever will, but here's the hoping, right? But get out there. It's time to shoot again. It's time to knock the rust and the dust off those guns. If you're me, it's knock the rust off. Most people clean a lot better than me. So get out and enjoy it. Spend time with your families. I hope everyone's had a great summer so far. Just to touch on some classes that I've done. I've, been doing the permit classes, and, I did what I called my behind closed doors class. And that class, I went out and we actually, you have the basic NRA way of shooting, the basic NRA stance, the isosceles or the Weaver stance. And you have the, the two-handed thumbs forward grip and all this stuff, right? That's the NRA, I can't even talk. The NRA way of shooting. And I call it the NRA way because that's what I was taught to teach when I went and got certified as an NRA instructor. And as you move on, as you get out there a little bit more, right, there's different ways of doing things. Now, that's not a bad way to do it. You have to know this before you can move on, but then you can tweak stuff. And I went and I've taken some classes and a bunch of online classes, and I went to Arizona and took a bunch of classes, and I learned some new way of doing things, some ways of being able to manage the recoil on the gun, right? So you can shoot quicker, faster, get on target quicker. Just a great class, and I've been teaching that. I've been using that, and I put together what I called a behind closed doors class. And I had like 5 or 6 people signed up for it, and then everyone backed out except for one guy. And he showed up. And I tell you what, I don't care if it's one guy or what. It doesn't matter if I post a class and one guy shows up. It is what it is, man. I'm going to teach that class no matter what. It doesn't matter if I take a hit or not. And he had the best class he's ever had, right? He had my attention 100%. And I'm going to get him actually on the podcast. He's been on the podcast a couple times. He goes by the name Bathroom Paul, and he explained his name in an earlier podcast. But I want to get him back on because he was absolutely amazed, right? We saw progression of his targets and his groups and his confidence and absolutely everything. And it was pretty phenomenal to see the difference in his shooting ability as he progressed, right? Fantastic class. In fact, I think, it's a lot of information. And I told Paul that there was going to be a ton of information that was going to be coming his way. And we were going to take lots of breaks, and he didn't understand why we'd be taking lots of breaks. I said, because we're going to overload your mind and your brain with all this new information, right? You got to have time to process it. I'm going to be coming at you quick with a lot of stuff. And he spent about 7 hours here. And we took all those breaks, and he needed them, right? But he learned so much. You just little tweaks here, little tweak on the grip, how to do this, what muscle group to tighten, what muscle group to loosen up, kind of, mess with your stance a little bit. All this stuff helps you manage the recoil and get on target a lot sooner and a lot quicker. And I think that everyone needs to, it's time for everyone to move on a little bit from that NRA stuff. Good stuff. And there's a place for it, right? If you're sitting there and you're shooting a static target with your buddies, there's nothing wrong, right? You're taking your time, you're shooting some bullseye targets, shoot that way. But this new way is another tool to have in your toolbox, right? You can take it out when you need it. You can mess around with it. You can master it, and you can shoot better, faster, quicker, more accurately, and manage that recoil. It's all about managing that recoil. If you can accept the recoil and manage the recoil and allow your sights or your red dot or whatever you're using at the time come back down onto target quicker, right, without you physically pushing it back down on target, and it's possible to do it, you can get another shot off quicker, right? That's just the way it goes. It's a fantastic way to shoot, and I'm actually really excited to teach it. I've taught it a handful of times now, and it's really cool. I know James, he's a lot of times he'll get on Facebook Live, and we talk about James quite a bit, and he's been on the podcast once or twice, I believe. And anyone that I've taught this stuff to, there comes a moment when they're shooting, and all of a sudden everything just starts flowing, and they're like, "Whoa, this is cool, man!" They're like, "This is the shit," and just you can just see it. They open their eyes real wide, and they're like, "That's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to feel. Oh my gosh, this is awesome." And it is. It's an eye-opening experience. There is a whole new world out there if you learn beyond the basic NRA stuff, right? Get out there, take classes, practice, learn. Knowledge is key. Never quit learning. If you want to improve, learn all these different techniques. Learn all these different ways to shoot. Go out and take classes from me or other instructors, or take a class from every instructor. Learn, broaden your horizon, right? It's the way to do it. Okay, so I'll jump off my soapbox, and I want to throw that out there too, that if you signed up for that class and you had to cancel last minute, I understand, life happens, stuff happens, things come up, that you missed out. and keep an eye out, and I'll throw another one up there, another date here probably in the next few days, and we'll see who we can get signed up to take that. I'm so excited to get this new knowledge, this new way of doing stuff out there, and just kind of out there with the majority of the people, especially in this area, and see how they take to it. I also, whenever something happens in one of my classes, I always like to point it out, right? I had a gentleman the other day come to class, and it was just an innocent mistake, but this is what happens, and I like to point it out so we can learn from mistakes. He showed up with 2 Smith & Wesson EZs, one in a 9mm, one chambered in a 380. And I watched him shoot, and he was just kind of here. He wasn't even really a class. He was just kind of renting the range. Him and like 3 or 4 other people came in, and they rented some time on the range. And I have to be out there for safety reasons. And I was out there watching him shoot. He wanted me to look at his guns, and I looked at him, and I was commenting on him. Brand new, man. Brand new, just brand new. Not a round put through him at all. And he started shooting a 9mm. And he was shooting the 9mm, and he was doing pretty good. And I went over there because I saw that he was starting to have troubles with his gun, and he was getting a little frustrated. And it would fire around, and then it wouldn't extract it, and it would jam up, and all kinds of stuff was happening, right? Well, I didn't realize he was shooting a 9mm, and I was looking at the gun, and all of a sudden it dawned on me. I wonder if, sure enough, I dropped the magazine. I was taking a look at it, and he actually was shooting 380 rounds out of his 9mm, which I don't recommend. It didn't harm his gun any, right? It was able to fire the round, and like I said, it didn't harm his gun, but it wasn't extracting, it wasn't doing all kinds of stuff that it should, and you never want to fire the wrong caliber out of the wrong gun. So always, I guess the lesson learned here is, and he just instantly grabbed the other magazine, right, and put it in there without thinking about it. He's kind of new to firearms. But here is the moral of the story. Always check the back of the rounds, the cases, to make sure they have the right caliber. Check your gun to make sure they're the right caliber. Check your box to make sure they're the right caliber. And if you are shooting 380 and a 9mm, they are so close. And to someone who maybe is new to shooting, you throw them in a pile, they're not going to be able to pick them out, right? They're just going to grab them and load them up and just try to shoot him. Like I said, I've seen bad things happen. This one, no one got harmed. The gun didn't come apart, anything like that. We were able to catch it and stop it and set him on the right track again. And so we were lucky, but it could have been a lot worse. I've seen bad things happen. So pay attention to that when you're shooting. Safety, 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 always safety. Let's review the safety rules one more time. I know we do this every now and then, but the 4 rules of gun safety are: treat every firearm like it is loaded, even if you know that it is unloaded. Okay? Even if you know that it is unloaded. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire that gun. Never point that gun at anything you're not willing to kill or destroy. And always know your target and what is in front of and beyond it. You are responsible for every round that leaves your gun. Okay? If it hits the target, you're responsible for that. If it hits the target and keeps going because you didn't have a proper backstop and hits a car, hits a vehicle, kills someone, hits someone, you are responsible for that as well. So always obey the gun safety rules. Now, another thing that I want to talk about when it comes to gun safety is I have this shooting simulator, and we shoot it using airsoft guns that are modeled after the G17, so the Glock 17 look exactly like it, everything, right? They're black like a Glock, they same dimensions, absolutely everything. These ones are set up to fire an IR laser that you do not see. Okay, I've had groups in here shooting on the shooting simulator. Pay attention to what you're doing. You've got essentially a firearm. Granted, it's not a firearm, but if you pick up a gun, even if it's a shooting simulator gun or an airsoft gun, and you're just waving it around haphazard and you're treating it like it's, it feels like a gun, your body thinks it's a gun, you need to go ahead and treat it with the safety rules, right? Keep your finger off the trigger, point in a safe direction, hand it off safely, right? Because that is going to translate. This is not a water gun. This is an actual airsoft gun, but it's modeled after an actual firearm. So when you pick it up, your body thinks it's an actual firearm. Treat it safe. Don't mess up the muscle memory. Okay, don't mess up those neural pathways, right? Because you start jacking around with an airsoft gun or in these simulator guns, and then as soon as you go out and the next day or whenever and pick up your gun, are you going to all of a sudden put your finger on the trigger? Because muscle memory is a real thing, and it will follow you around. Pay attention to what you're doing. We don't want any accidents, right? No accidents at all. Another thing I want to throw out there is, I don't know where you live, where you're listening to this podcast, but I know here in Idaho right now, it's very, very, very dry. In fact, I just noticed down below my house, there's already another fire. We've had like 4 or 5 fires just locally, and our fire season never starts this early, and it is super bone dry out there. Be careful if you're out shooting, right? Be careful if you're out shooting. I know around here, it's illegal to shoot any kind of explosive targets on any land other than private ground. And even on private ground, I'd be very, very careful. It's not going to take much this year to start a bunch of fires. We don't need that. And I'm sure wherever you live in your state, you don't need that as well. Always follow your guidelines, your state guidelines and laws and rules, and don't get your shooting, places that you go shooting, shut down. Now, there are a lot of states that have a lot of places, locations that have a lot of indoor ranges that you can join, clubs you can join, places that you can go and pay to shoot, and that's fantastic. Down here in the Magic Valley, around where I live, we do not have those places. We have gravel pits. We have places just out in the desert where people just go and shoot. Some places got a good backdrop, and that's just where everyone goes, right? Pay attention. Around here, we are getting stuff. Places shut down and taken away from us. Why are we getting places taken away from us? Because people, couple different rules or reasons. People aren't following the gun safety rules, right? They're in fact, one in particular, they actually are shooting, I don't know, some kind of long range rifle or something like that, and there's a house out there that's quite a little ways away. And they've actually hit the house 3 times. It's been impacted 3 times by bullets. In fact, one of the rounds actually went through the wall of the house and went ahead and buried itself into a dresser next to a sleeping baby. Okay, we don't want that. You don't want that to happen. That's bad, right? That's dangerous. Someone was not following safety rules. There's also lots of people who ride mountain bikes and run and UTVs and all kinds of stuff out there. And there's been people that have set up to take long-range shots with a rifle, whether they're sighting them in for hunting season or whatnot, and they're shooting across these trails. Pay attention to what's going on. There was a big push to get this whole this whole shooting area actually shut down and have shooting banned right there because it was getting pretty dangerous. I've heard horror stories of people on mountain bikes that had to dump their mountain bikes over and get on the ground because bullets were whizzing by them. Okay. Now that is on shooters. I'm not saying it's on all shooters, but that is on the shooters. Then you have a problem, it seems to me, at least around here, wherever there's a shooting place, there's people dump their garbage. People dump TVs. I've seen hot tubs, refrigerators, car hoods, just bags of garbage, period, right? And I'm not saying the shooters are leaving those, but once they leave those and then the shooters show up and go, oh, look, a car hood, let's shoot at it. Once you shoot at it and you put one round through it, guess what? Guess who owns that? You own it. Then people who go out there and see the garbage and it's all there and it's all shut up, all of a sudden the shooters own it and it's the shooter's garbage because no one can prove otherwise. Okay, we need to police ourselves. We're getting places taken away around here. They want to shut places down. It's absolutely ridiculous. If you see some, and I mean, I want to say this is kind of concerning more around here, right? Some little PSA for around here, but pay attention to what's going on around you. If you see someone doing something unsafe, go talk to them. If they get ignorant with you, if they want to fight you, if they tell you to go to hell, leave them alone. They know what they're doing, and they're consistently being unsafe, like waving their guns around or shooting across trails, and they won't quit, right? Call law enforcement. Have law enforcement come out and chat with them. I'd rather have that happen than someone get killed. I would imagine law enforcement would as well. If you see someone dumping garbage, by all means, turn them in, get a license plate, turn them in. Don't shoot at it just because it's there. Don't shoot at it. and pack out whatever you haul in and take an extra bag and pack out even more. It's the only way that we are going to get places like this, and we're going to, be able to keep them from being shut down. In Idaho, we're free, right? We don't have, maybe we shouldn't be to a certain extent, but we don't have a place where you go pay to shoot, right? We have these nice places that are out in the desert, and you can kind of go out and shoot, and you don't have to pay anything, and they're nice, right? Till we trash them, till we get them taken away. One of the places that we've had taken away from us in the past was because someone actually was out there riding a horse or his mule or something, and he got nailed with a rifle round. Now, it was from far enough away that, it just left a welt, right? It hit him and it left a big welt and jarred him around a little bit, but I don't think it actually broke the skin. But, if he was closer, that outcome would have been absolutely horrible. Pay attention to what you got going on around you. Be safe, make good decisions, or these places are going to disappear, folks. And then you're not going to have any place to shoot. I know around here there is no place to shoot. If they take away all our places, we're kind of, I'm not, I got a little range here. But we're kind of screwed, right? We need to police our own. There is a lot of new shooters out there, a lot of brand new shooters that went out and bought handguns for the first time during the COVID pandemic, okay? They may need some help. They may not have taken a safety class. If you're out on a range and you see them there, go up, introduce yourself, talk to them, ask them, do you need any help? If you're brand new, let me know if you need any help. And if you see them doing something unsafe, nicely go talk to them. They may not know. They may not even realize that they're being unsafe, right? We need to keep the sport going. We need to let the Second Amendment live on. And the only way we're going to do that is by educating people and helping people. And if that takes you going and introducing yourself to someone to do that, do it, right? Do it. Become friends, Maybe they can give you some pointers. Maybe they got a gun for sale, and and you want to buy it. Who knows? You just don't know. But I know for we need to be better. We need to do better. We need to, as a community, we need to clean up after ourselves. We need to get rid of the rotten apples. We need to teach them. Or like I said, our places are going to be disappearing. So if I sound a little stuffy, it's because it's Idaho, it's allergy season, and the farmer's out here working in his beet field, and it's just a dusty, smoky mess because I got a fire a few miles away from me. So I know that I am a couple weeks behind. I totally get that. I totally understand that. So this might be a little too late, but I'm going to talk about it because it's one of those things that just kind of, if you listen to the podcast, you'll understand. So it's this whole thing with Recoil magazine. Recoil magazine took a lot of blowback for their Chris Chang cover art. Now, if you don't know who Chris Chang is, Chris Chang is, let's see here. He's a Top Shot champion and prominent Second Amendment advocate. And the Recoil magazine is probably one of the most, well-known gun magazines out there. Okay, they posted a cover art photo of him holding his rifle and wearing a rainbow design American flag on his shirt. Okay, if you're unaware, Chris Chang is openly gay. In fact, he announced to the gun world in the pages of Recoil back in 2013 that he was openly gay, right? Well, June was Pride Month, and this may be a subject that no one wants to breach, no one wants to talk about, and I'm not saying you have to agree with the LGBTQ whatever community. I'm sure I'm left something out. It seems like that changes every month, and but whatever. But they're out there, and they have a right to do things as well. You don't have to agree with them. But they're there, and you don't have to cut them down. And it says, just in case you hadn't noticed, June is also Pride Month, right? The chain cover had been in works for months, and it was only a coincidence of the magazine's editorial calendar that was scheduled to run in June. Okay, so a lot of people didn't notice. He's wearing you should go check it out. You can just Google it online, and you can check out the cover of this. It's really interesting. So it's the fact that the story, right? Him posing with a gun, and he's a great Second Amendment advocate, right? And he's posted a bunch of videos, and he's just a great guy. And what his sexual preference is shouldn't mean anything. I mean, he wore a shirt that he's proud of, But that's it. He's not running around trying to convince you, because you're into firearm, trying to convince you that you need to be gay. That's not what he's doing. But the comments, right? The comments that Recoil magazine took was absolutely amazing, right? We need to be better as a community. There's a whole section of the gun community that is LGBTQ, right? And they are here to fight for the Second Amendment with us, especially after, I'm just rifling through here. Got my papers. Especially after the Pulse nightclub shooting, right? There's the group called the Pink Pistols, and that's a group of LGBTQ people who are into firearms, right? They have their own club, and they have their own meetings and their own shoots. It's absolutely fantastic. Their motto is, armed gays don't get bashed, right? And after the Pulse nightclub shooting, that became a little more popular. And I just think we can do better than this. We don't have to agree, but we don't have to hate, right? If they want to purchase a gun, if they want to purchase ammunition, if they want to help up the numbers of people who own guns and buy ammunition and want to further the Second Amendment, right, we need that. We need all the help that we can get. And I just think we can do a lot better. We don't have to agree. We don't have to make harsh comments. We don't have to ban Recoil magazine. We don't have to ban anyone that stands up for this stuff. And I would like to read the Recoil magazine response to all this. So I'm just going to go ahead and read this because there's no way I'm going to remember this, man. I used to spray pesticides, and anyhow, there's no way I'm remembering all this. It says, from the staff of Recoil magazine, anyone who has followed us for any length of time knows that we are no stranger to controversy. However, even we were taken aback by some of the reactions to our upcoming cover draft, which we recently posted on social media. Chris Cheng has been a staple in the shooting community for a decade and has graced the pages of Recoil many times before. Most recently, he has been an advocate for our gun rights in testimony to the U.S. Senate and has founded a new Asian American firearms organization in the midst of increasing anti-Asian street violence. And yes, he is also married to a man. So here you go. Here's someone, right? Someone who is a huge advocate for the Second Amendment and has gone up, right, and given testimony to the U.S. Senate, okay, on the Second Amendment, and has founded a whole new firearms organization for Asian Americans. Okay, he's trumping, he's bolstering up the Second Amendment movement, and we're going to tear him apart just because he believes something a little different. I tell you what, not everyone believes the same thing out there, right? Some people want to marry tree stumps. I really don't care. That doesn't affect me. You like guns? You're in. I mean, it doesn't matter to me what you do in your personal life. It makes no difference. Can you shoot? And you shoot good? That's freaking cool. Teach me what you know, right? It says, if you're as strong of a defender of individual liberty as Chris Cheng, we'll put you on the cover and let you pick your own wardrobe too. We maintain that the Second Amendment is for all Americans. Always have, always will. It's up to us as individuals to bring that message to as many people as possible and challenge the media-driven stereotype of firearms owners. We've seen record numbers of our fellow citizens embrace their right to bear arms this past 14 months. That'd be over COVID. And new gun owners have shown that they don't fit preconceived ideas of what they should look like. Gun rights are for everyone, no matter their gender, no matter their sexual orientation, their country of origin, or the color of their skin. And I back that 110%. 110%. In the Second Amendment, in the firearms industry, or community, there's no place for racism. There's no place for anti-LGBTQ, anti-gay sentiment. We're all here. We're all here for the same reasons. I don't even care if you're on the left. We're all here for the same reason. We need to support each other, not tear each other down, support each other. This man right here has done a lot more than you and a lot more than me. He's proved that he can shoot well, and he has gone in front of the U.S. Senate and given testimony for the Second Amendment. Are you kidding? Old Bubba Joe over there who likes firearms, he hasn't done hardly anything, but he's going to tear this man apart. This guy is doing way more for the Second Amendment than Bubba Joe. We need to embrace that. Right? We need to get after it. We need to be okay with that. We need to be better as a community, and I really don't care what you believe. I really don't. It doesn't. Someone that backs the Second Amendment, and if they're from a different sexual orientation than me, it doesn't matter. I don't care what you do at home behind closed doors. I don't care at all. You support the Second Amendment and you want to stand with me, I'll stand with you, side by side with you, and we can fight for the Second Amendment. We can fight for our gun rights. There is a whole new diverse group of people that just bought firearms, whether they're people on the left, whether they're LGBTQ, whether they're women, whether it doesn't matter, right? There's a whole brand new crew coming in. And if we divide us from the inside out, just kind of like the government and our country has forced us to do as a nation as a whole, if we get divided from the inside out, then we're no good. Then we're not going to stand together. We're not going to come together, and we're not going to stay on top of this. This is absolutely ridiculous, and I know that we can do better than this, and I expect us to do better than this. And in my classes personally, I've never had a problem. Never had a problem. But if I get lots of different people in my classes, and if I ever hear one discriminatory word out of someone's mouth and it's uttered because there's someone different in the class, I will tell that person to leave. I won't even ask. I will tell them that they need to leave. On my radio show last Friday, we were talking about the one of the shooting areas over here locally called Indian Springs. I was talking about the garbage, and I was talking about the unsafe shooting that takes place out there. And part of me just kind of wishes they just shut it down before someone gets killed. And that's just me. I know that's what I believe, right? Because, we have a hard time taking care of our own out there. But someone called in and they said, Todd, I disagree with you. It's not, he refused any, to be responsible for any of it. It's not the people that live around here, Todd. It's all the Californians coming in. It's all the Mexicans that go out there and mess stuff up. I'm like, holy crap, racist much? Just because you're from California doesn't mean you're going to leave a bunch of garbage there. Doesn't mean you're going to be unsafe, okay? Just because you're Hispanic, you're a different ethnicity, doesn't mean all of a sudden you're going to dump trash out there. I mean, that was the most ignorant, absurd thing I've heard in a long time, right? More often than not, it's going to be the good old boys that go out there and dump their garbage. They've been doing it forever, and they're going to, they have a hard time quitting. They're just going to kind of keep doing it, right? We've been here a lot longer than the Californians just moved in last month. I don't think they're out there dumping their garbage. Honestly, I do not. It's time for us to take responsibility. It's time for us to clean up our mess from the inside out. We need to educate people on safety, educate them on cleaning up garbage. We need to educate them on not being racist. We need to educate them on not being racist against LGBTQ people. We've all got guns. We're all in this together. We have to stand up. We have to fight side by side, right? There's no need to exclude a group or talk badly about them. It's absolutely ridiculous. But anyhow, folks, you are tired of hearing me rant because that's essentially where I'm going because, understandably enough, a lot of people don't agree with my sentiments on this. And I don't care. It's my podcast. And if you don't like it, cancel your subscription you don't subscribe to it. Well, you do subscribe to it, but you don't pay for it. Yeah, you get what you pay for, man, and you ain't paying a whole heck of a lot for this. But if you listen, I do appreciate it. Share it with your family. Share it with your friends. Share it on your social media, and we'll try to get back on track here and get up YouTube Live and all that stuff. I know I'm a few weeks behind, but life happens. That's just what happens. If you got any comments or questions, you can call me. You can text me, area code 620-794-6223. That's area code 620-794-6223. And once again, I appreciate you guys listening. I appreciate the support. Thank you for being understanding when I miss a couple weeks, which doesn't happen too often, but occasionally it does. I do appreciate that. And wish me luck because I've got a class showing up in about 20 minutes and it's probably pushing 100 degrees out there. And I know down in the actual shooting pit, it's probably going to be even a few degrees warmer. So I get to go out there and sweat it out for a couple hours, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I do enjoy it. But until then, you guys have a good rest of the week. Sorry this is late. Hopefully you get this out tonight or I'll get it out in the morning. And my goal is to have another one out this weekend. Sorry this one is so short, but it's better than nothing. I'll see you guys later. Bye.